Hi guys, welcome back to TBS Skylabs. Today we're going to be doing a slightly bigger topic, I guess, and slightly harder. And we're going to be trying to make a language learning tool. And the idea of this is we're going to try and do lots of different bits of the course and pull it all together, but it's really designed for year 13, which in my case is my A-level students, although AS students and probably IGCSE students could learn a lot of this as we go, but we'll be using things like classes that you're not expected to know, at least until you're in AS or A level. Okay, so this is what we're going to follow, is this whole idea of a development lifecycle. This is from simplifier.io. And we want to follow through these different stages, and we want to, well, basically make a program. And the aim of this program is to make something that's going to help me learn Nepali, because frankly, I've been here since July and I've been a bit lazy. My Chinese is pretty good when I lived in China, but in Nepal it's quite hard because so many people are really good at English, and it's easy to be lazy. And I'm lazy. So anyway, enough about me. Anyway, so we're going to be doing the analysis stage first. Now, here's a bit tricky because I'm my own customer. We'd be doing some sort of feasibility studies. We'd be checking up and seeing what competition's out there. We might do like market research. All of these things are probably more on the business side of things rather than a software engineer side of things. But definitely, if you're making your own stuff to sell, you need to think about, well, is it actually worth doing anything here? If I spend 15 days working on a project, and there's something that's already out there or something that's better that's out there, what's the new thing that you're bringing? What are you doing that's different from other people? We also need to think about, like, what is the actual problem? So in my case, here we have hello and namaste. Now, namaste is the Nepali of hello, but you'll notice that Nepali writing has this sort of writing, which I guess is similar to Hindi, I believe. But I need to think about my actual problem here because I have like two answers for a single thing. So I probably need to decide then, like, am I focusing on this? Am I focusing on this? Or am I trying to do both at the same time? Like, I want to have like an options or settings that changes it from one to the other. And that could be a bit of a challenge. Okay, but something to need to start thinking about. What potential problems could you have? What's already out there? Is it worth your time? All of these things are part of our analysis stage. We could check stuff through surveys, questionnaires, interviews, many different things. But luckily in our case, in this case, I'm my customer, so I don't need to worry too much. So we will be following what is effectively this iterative waterfall model, and we will start, well, feasibility study, as I've said. It's feasible because I want it and I don't want to pay someone else for it. I want to get the practical experience, so it's feasible to do. Do I have the technical skill? So remember, as part of your ethics stuff, you have to think about, there's ethical requirements which sort of say that, if you don't have the skill, you've got to be honest with your customer. You've got to be honest with the other people on your team that you don't have the right skills yet, and there's stuff you're going to have to learn. And that's totally fine, but you've got to be upfront with people and say, hey, this is my first rodeo. Okay. Then we need to break down our problem. So we need to think about, well, what's it actually going to be? What's it going to have? So let's try and narrow things down a little bit and say, what are my requirements? Requirements. Okay, now I always like to start with a little brief. What is it that my program is going to do? So I'm going to call it Yeti Language Learner, because Yeti is the name of our sports team in the school, and Yeti is Nepal, so what's it going to do? Create a tool, create a software tool maybe, that will help people learn Nepali. Okay, so that's, oh dear, can't spell anything today, same as usual. So create a software tool that will help people learn Nepali. Great. So now I need to think about and I need to decompose that task into smaller stages or into smaller requirements, into a list of requirements, in fact. So what things is it my program is actually going to be able to do? Okay, so first of all, it's going to store words and the relationship between English language and Nepali language. Now, again, this I'm quite lucky on because it's me, so I can come back and change my requirements later. You've got to remember that really your requirements are sitting down with a customer, talking to them, finding out what they want. And this is almost like our contractual part. If you take something to somebody later and you say, oh, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. Like if your customer comes to you and says, oh, this software doesn't have this, doesn't have that. If it's something that's not on the requirements, then well, you don't have to do it unless you wanted to, just to make the customer happy. But you could effectively charge more. You don't want to. This is like your contract. This is your agreement of what is going to be happening inside of stuff. And it's also for your team as well. So if you're working with a bigger team, system requirements are super important. System. Okay. Okay. I want to be able to load and save. It's kind of different font for some reason. I want to be able to load and save word lists. So, yeah, I mean, I want to be able to add new words. I want to be able to, I want to be able to save any words I've added. Load and save word lists. Oh, I want to be able to add and remove words. That 2 is very annoying. Why is that 2 not working? Okay, there we go. I want to be able to add and remove words from different lists. What else do I want to do? Now, I'm thinking I want pictures to go with the words, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off on that requirement until a later date. So I'm going to put a maybe list down here. And again, this is where I'm lucky. Have photos related to words. And then I'm going to maybe have synonyms. Hopefully that's right. List for each word. Okay. Now again, these are maybe later. Oh, I want to have flashcards, and I want to have games. So basically, this is the main thing. So I want to have like flashcards of Nepali and English words. I'm going to say both script and sound. So by that I mean script and the sound here. I don't know what you'd actually call this, like anglicization or Latinization of this here. In Chinese, we'd call it pinyin. I don't know what it'd be called here. But anyway, pronunciation, possibly. Anyway, so I'm going to have some games that I can play as well. I've got my flashcards. I'm going to be able to add different lists, save word lists. I want to be able to find or search for words in the list. In the list. Okay, list. Okay. Is there anything else I want? Oh yeah, I want to have a GUI, a graphical user interface, and then later maybe I want to have a web interface. Okay, so hopefully that's my system requirements broken down. Again, this is where, customers, this will be a lot more complicated because it's just me. What is it I wanted to do? That's fine. So, and then these are my optional extras. And again, I can come back and add to stuff later because we're doing the iterative waterfall method. So we keep repeating it, we can keep adding stuff to it, we can keep building on our existing program using this method. Okay, good. Now, something maybe not necessarily in the book, but something that people really should think about at this point is there anything you need to review or learn? So, as I've said, we're going to be using classes. We're going to be using some kind of list structure. I think I'm going to use a binary tree. We're going to be using tkinter. So I'm going to be doing GUIs. I need tkinter. And although it's not on the course itself, super useful to have. There are better ones in tkinter for making graphical user interfaces, but tkinter is readily available. So we're going to use that one. If I then go to do web interfaces, I'm maybe going to have to do Flask or Django. I suspect Flask because Django is a bit of like it's way outside the course, frankly. So as is Flask to some extent, but Flask is fairly easy if you know a bit of HTML. Cool. Anything else? If I do photos, I'm going to have to do review Pillow. Is it? I think Pillow is the library that goes with photos and stuff. Anything else I need? Classes, menu trees, Okay. I mean, I think that's enough. I can tick off what I know. Classes is fine. Binary trees is fine. tkinter is okay. And then these are in the maybe section. So if I decide to go on to those, I can come back and review those a little bit as well. Okay. Anything else? Is there anything that I need to think about in terms of like hardware requirements, server space, IP addresses, URLs, things like this. So in theory, if I wanted to then release all my Flask and Django stuff, I'm going to need servers and things. So that's all going to be in there. But generally speaking, my hardware stuff is okay. What language am I going to use? Well, you can already probably guess I'm going to be using Python. I quite like Java, but I think my current year 13s are doing in Python, so let's do it in Python. Anything else I need? Nope. Okay. So then my next stage is into design. And I'm going to do that in a different video. Okay, so we'll pause that one there, see how it goes, and we'll move on from there. If I can find the thing to stop. There we go.